Okay, I've got all the buttons back in place. All these are tightened down now. They're all back in place. And you may have to adjust them, move them around a little bit if when you go to pull your wiring up and put your micro switches back in place, they don't seem to reach the way you've got them configured. And I just put them exactly the way back that I did my Mortal Kombat 2 before, and it is a little different than what this was originally, but as long as you're not kinking, bending your wires, getting them in the way of your joystick in any way where it's going to impede the actuator or something like that, then you're probably going to be okay. Just don't kink them or put any tight bends in the wire where it might damage the wires or put pressure on the micro switch in a weird way. And check each switch one at a time when you've got the machine powered on to make sure that you are, for instance, putting the high punch here where it's supposed to go, or the low punch here, the high kick, the low kick, the block. And for the joystick, you're just gonna, if you can't tell just by looking, you might have to experiment, because it's kind of a reverse. If you want to go this way, and when you press the joystick on the other side, it's going to mash this switch in. So that right there is going to have to be for like your movement to the right. And when you mash it to the left, this is going to be your movement to the left. When you mash it up, it's actually going to press the bottom switch. So, just make sure that you test them. And I mean, if you put them on wrong, you can just move them around. And each micro switch too has a ground. I think the ground. Let me look on the Mortal Kombat 2. I think it goes right here on the center post. Nope, I was wrong about that. It goes right here. Each one of your grounds will go like here, here, and then you have a switch position which they have like normally closed and normally open. And normally the switch will be open. That means it's not active. If you hook it on right here, then it'll function like you want it to. Whenever you move the joystick and it presses it, it's going to move in the proper direction. If you put the wire right here, the one that's not your ground wire, then it's going to think that you're moving in that direction all the time. So you want to ignore this one on most games. I don't know if there's any games that use that or not, but the Mortal Kombat, they all use this and then the ground position here, and that's the same on each switch. You would have this and then the ground position, and that would do like this would activate downward movement. But I'm going to go ahead and connect all of these wires up for the joysticks and put the micro switches back in that are still connected to the wiring for the buttons, and make sure those are all in the right positions. And got to connect this ground strap back up right here and put this tap back on. I'll just do that right quick if I can get it to stay on. I'll go ahead and tighten that down and get the all the switches and stuff like that installed and the wires installed, and I'll do that off camera. Okay, got all the micro switches back in place. All the wiring is reconnected. Start off with this side, and when you have that many wires and micro switches and all that, it takes a minute to kind of get yourself organized and realize which way you're putting them all back. And you may never get them back exactly like they were originally, but as long as it looks neat to you, and like I said, as long as stuff's not all jumbled up and pulling on anything or interfering with anything like micro switches being pressed or joystick movement, around the actuator area or anything, then you're going to be fine. And you don't want to have wires where they'll be crimped or mashed when you close the control panel back down. But this side went really well. I did move the upper two switches around a little bit just to keep from kinking the wires too much. It looks good. This side, see, I think the three top buttons are oriented different, but it's just the way the wires have been when they were connected before. It would have pulled them too much to turn them up this way like these are. But it looks really neat to me, and everything functions. I've done tested all the switches and the joysticks. I've got it in the switch test mode right now. It's in some of the setup options whenever you go into the setup mode for the game. But I've tested it and it all works great, and I'm going to close it back up right now. And on this machine it's easiest just to hang on to the joysticks and do it. And right now I'm going to do some gameplay and see how it plays, and you know, no use in really filming that. Everybody knows what it's like to play the game. I'm just gonna maybe give you a response here in a second and just tell you how I like the new controllers. Well, I don't have anything but good things to say about the new joysticks. It's back to like what I remember from the arcade when I was a good bit younger. Joysticks are working great. I think I actually like this one right here just slightly better. You know how they all feel just a little different. This one feels great too. But I can immediately tell a difference when you take and twist these joysticks like this and try to rotate. Over here on the Mortal Kombat 2, there's like a stop. You can feel click, 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 out and back, and it's where that actuator is moving out and back, and you can feel it grabbing. And I mean, you can keep twisting it if you twist hard, but there's a, you know, you can feel the actuator is moving out and back underneath there. But on these, they just rotate freely, and you can tell a difference a little bit in the sound when you do certain moves. So I think those actuators, the way they have them now in these competitions, are even better. It feels great. It feels just like I remember it in the arcade. All the buttons, joysticks, working great. Pulled off fatalities a lot easier. It felt like in Kano's circular ball motion. You know, I was able to get that off like, you know, a good bit faster. And not as much movement of the stick. It feels tighter. That other stick, I mean, it felt like it come way back in big circles, and it just seems to be slow, you know. But these are great. So really happy with it. And it's really late at night. I got work in the morning. It's a Sunday night, and it's about 11:30 p.m. So I've got to get in bed. Talk to you guys later.